And so what is Israel trying to do right now? What is motivating not just Netanyahu, but even the people who are critical of Netanyahu, but who support the genocidal war on Gaza?
I think that what's, if I'm like looking at a bigger psychological picture of things, because this is the only one I can understand and make any sense of. I think that what Israelis experience now is a weird combination of like panic, indifference, a kind of resignation to apocalypse. We know it's coming. What can you do? Kind of mentality. And this is why the historical story is so important. We can see it now, because this is why when you ask me about clips, I want you to play. I told you about Netanyahu's Amalek speech. Why is this so important? When Netanyahu said Amalek, I mean, of course, there's the genocide part. He told us we are going to butcher and massacres. As soon as he said it, I knew at least 100,000 Palestinians are going to pay with their lives. It was clear to me. But this is something more. This is putting things in the context of the seriously damaging and not very sane Jewish Zionist story. This story of we are always persecuted. People always hate us and want to kill us. Therefore, it has nothing to do with anything we do.
Right.
It's nothing that we did. So Netanyahu at once relieves any sense of responsibility from himself, because this is history doing this. This is God. This is a historical mechanism that operates like independently from anything that we do. But it's also telling Jews in Israel, this is what we are living through now. We are now living through the pogroms and the Holocaust and Egypt and all this. This is now. This is what's really happening. This is not Hamas, and this is not Iran or Lebanon. This is Pharaoh. This is Hitler. So I have no responsibility, and there's nothing you can do to change this, because if history operates on its own, you can do anything about it.
And what is the goal?
You want me to answer you like seriously what I think?
Yeah.
The goal is national suicide.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, because if the story is Amalek and Hitler and Pharaoh and all this, I mean, what happened in all those events? No negotiations were held, and people had like a back and forth about positions, and then an agreement, some kind of compromise was reached. Okay, no like understandable, sane process of dealing with stuff happened. It was fate speaking. And Jewish fate speaking through mass slaughter of Jews. This is the story. This is Amalek. This is what Amalek tried to do, but like miraculously didn't succeed. But Hitler did succeed, at least partially. And many the pogroms did succeed. So what I think that what people like Netanyahu and his supporters have in mind, this is like the collective psyche of Zionist Jews now. This is the model that they have in mind of mass slaughter, a huge catastrophe. Because according to this model, they are going to succeed eventually. So we are kind of delaying the inevitable. We are not engaging with normal reality. And this is part of the reason Israelis are incapable. I'm making speeches, I'm sorry, but it's like flowing. This is part of the reason Israelis are incapable of seeing Palestinians and talking about Palestinians as like normal factors, as how any of us would talk about any kind of conflict in our daily lives with like a colleague, a neighboring country. They are saying this, but we are saying that. So we are fighting, but tomorrow you're going to partially agree. And then we're going to ask someone to mediate. And it's a normal story, but this is not a normal story. So Palestinians don't even exist. They are merely metaphors, like agents of sacred or holy or historical story. So what's the point of even dealing with them? This is God working. Palestinians killing me or October 7 was an act of God. It's not an act of humans. So I think that bizarrely, this is like the underlying almost wish to have this huge catastrophe, to have Israel break, which will reinforce this story. Because you see, we told you it's true. They want to kill us, don't you see? It kind of affirms this crazy story. And I think that some, even Zionist leaders, were understood it, these dynamics, and understood how dangerous it was, and talked about the dangers of mystical thinking in Zionism, like mystical Zionism. They spoke about this danger early on. But I think they had no chance. I mean, given the balance of power inside the Jewish world and what Zionism needed to succeed, the kind of mentality it needed to create to succeed, they had no chance. And like the demonstrators we saw earlier protesting for the release the captives and send Netanyahu home, they are like the relics of this camp. Of trying to create a so quote unquote rational Zionism. But even them, this camp are incapable of like talking about Palestinians like normal people.
So what happens to Israel when it breaks? Like, is there a new country formed? Does it become a state, one state with equal rights for everyone, or?
I think that when it becomes, this is like I don't know, the positive, I don't know how to call it, prophecy or scenario, okay? Once it becomes clear that Israel can no longer handle itself because its infrastructure is destroyed and so many people died or are wounded that it cannot function anymore, and workplaces are destroyed and so on, and the military is so hurt, and the devastation is so huge that it cannot be governed as a normal state anymore. And the US needs to provide so much help that it's really the ruling power here. And this is what may happen. I mean, the US may reach an agreement with Arab states, the Arab League or something like this, and create some sort of protectorate for some period of time and try to create a transition period to something else. But this is like the rosy scenario. What can also happen is like Israel deciding to use, for instance, nukes. Israel deciding to go actually really all the way into apocalypse and the end of days and Armageddon, along with all the crazy evangelicals from the States who will applaud this. They will call Netanyahu and tell him to push the red button. We're behind you. Do it.